Welcome to In the Cut, the show that gets you up close and personal with BN and our community.
Good afternoon, evening, or morning. Welcome to In the Cut. My name is Edith Gray, and I'm your host. We welcome you to the show that gets you up close and personal with Black non-believers and our community. If you are new to the channel, In the Cut is a production of Black Non-Believers, a 501c3 organization headquartered in the Atlanta area. We connect with other Blacks and allies who are living free of religion and might otherwise be shunned by friends and family by providing a caring, friendly, and informative community. Instead of accepting dogma, we determine truth and morality through reason and evidence. The mission of Black non-believers is to provide secular fellowship. We nurture and support non-believers in coming out. We encourage pride in non-religious identities. We educate the public on the history and current state of non-belief in the Black community. We organize events and charitable causes. Black non-believers welcomes all, regardless of age, gender identity, sexual identity, national origin, or racial identity. However, our content and our work prioritizes Black non-religious voices. At this time, I want to welcome the founder and president of Black Non-Believers to the show, Mandisa Thomas. Hello, Mandisa.
Hello, Edith, and hello, everyone. Thank you for watching today's episode. We are in December of 2025 and approaching, we are in our end of year fundraising season and just recapping the year. Edith, how has it been for you? What are your thoughts on how the year has gone?
It's wow. As all I can say is wow. There's been a lot going on in the world. And it's just been something to just keep your head on a swivel and keep your focus. It's been very difficult with all of the things going on politically, watching religious fundamentalism on the rise here in the U.S. Has been alarming, but also just continues to fuel the fire under us to forge ahead and keep fighting.
Absolutely. And of course, it's been a very challenging, but also busy year for us. And, we understand that there have just been so many people who have felt the angst of the year. But what I am encouraged by is the due diligence of folks who have, continued to remain active and encouraged and, and still showing up, whether it's protesting, whether it's, running for a office or staying involved with your local communities, because that is very, very important.
Right. And yeah, I mean, we featured some of the politicians who are on the right side of things on our show this year. And that, that was a good thing. But yeah, it went by quickly in some regards. And in other regards, it seemed to drag on forever, 2025.
Yeah, so you have an update about Across Generations. Please share that.
Yeah, so I was on Facebook the other day, and so apparently, well, first, for those who are new to the show, I was featured on a program called Across Generations. It is a Radio One radio show hosted by former MSNBC news anchor Tiffany Cross. And in this, her new show, she has Black women of different generations discussing a topic. So last year, the topic was religion, faith versus skepticism. And I was the person in the older generation who was a non-believer against a younger person and then someone in the middle. So anyway, the person that I was on the show with. Her name was B. Simone. She is an actress and a comedian. And so we kind of just, it wasn't really a debate, but it was just an airing out of the topic, really. It was conversation. But so she came on the show representing the position of faith, of believing, and, you know, mostly Christianity was discussed. So here recently, and she's getting some flack now. She's getting a lot of viral attention because she's come out recently and stated that if it was between 10 minutes with Jesus and $1 trillion, she would take the $1 trillion and not talk to Jesus. This is the position she's going with now. And I just have to wonder if it was something, you know, and the first thing that popped into my mind was she was saying how, you know, she was very anchored in her faith and that she thought that Jesus and God were perfect gentlemen. And so here we have her kind of saying, okay, well, I'd take the money than rather talk to Jesus. I just wonder if anything that was discussed on that program on Across Generations, maybe, you know, stuck with her a little bit. And so I didn't delve too much into all of the background, but it was just a really interesting, what do you call that? An interesting, I won't call it a news flash. There's a name for it. It was like a thumbnail, you know. The thumbnail is always the sensational part of the thing, but I'm not going to take too much. I'm not going to put too much into the fact that she might be really starting to deconstruct. I think she had some other reasons that she outlined about why she would take the money rather than waste 10 minutes talking to Jesus. But I just found that interesting. Then I thought, okay, maybe she's thinking about it.
Yes, I did hear something about that, and I saw that some Christians were trying to come for her as a result. And just a FYI, we are trying to troubleshoot. If the screen here looks a little bit different, it's because the live stream was created a little bit differently this time, and we are trying to get a hold of our special guest who is he's here, but we're doing the best we can. So but yeah, I saw a bit of that. And I thought it was very funny. And, you know, I wonder, I think that I will say, I will give you credit and say that, you know, it says that I think it was very interesting. And I think that you might have had something to do with that. I really do. Because it's interesting that, you know, there are a lot of Black folks who still don't think we exist. And it's just amazing that, you know, at this point, it usually takes for them to see one of us face to face in order for us to actually do some, you know, reconsidering. Right. And I also thought it was very interesting to that, you know, a lot of the crew there were either non-believers or very forward-thinking religious people. And so perhaps that also made it made an impact. I'm going to bring up Kelly here for a moment because I need to find out what's going on here. Yes, that is too funny. She realized Jesus was thrown under the bus. And so, yeah, I'm going to bring up Kelly for just a moment and see what we can do about our special guest. So I will be back in just a moment.
Right.
Hey, Kelly, who was just on. Great job on Secular Activism Unfiltered. So we are just, okay, here we go. Never mind.
I can go back down to my dungeon.
Yeah. Yeah,
I was eating, so my lipstick is off now.
Okay.
I wasn't prepared. How is everybody on this that's watching doing? Gotta say hello to them.
Yeah.
Oh, let me add him.
He says he's not connected. We're not ready to introduce him yet. But
okay. That's right.
But yeah, it says he's not connected, so we're still working on that.
Okay.
So So yeah, we'll put Kelly back there. Yeah, we're trying to get things connected. So, but I think it really goes to show that even if we're not, even if when we don't realize that we're making an impact, we are.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's one of the reasons why what we do at Being is important. Whenever we are invited, especially to speak publicly on our position, it's very, very important that we respond to those calls.
Yep, I agree. And so, the more we lean into things and don't turn down invitations to show up in places where you normally wouldn't find us, because you don't know who's listening and how you might be able to leave an impression. So again, I was just really glad to have that opportunity that you helped bring about, Mandisa.
Yeah, and you nailed it. I mean, you killed it. It was fantastic. And I really hope, I know you said that was your first time, within speaking publicly on your position. And so I imagine that I already know how stressful that can be. And, you did such an amazing job and you looked incredible. And I just thought it was just very, very, it was very, very well done. So, yeah, kudos to you, because you're representing, you're putting yourself out there, but you're also representing the organization, and you're representing still the voices of unheard folks.
Yeah.
So yeah, you don't really realize how many people will actually be listening.
Yeah. I don't know. It was cool if something, if it was laying the groundwork for more deconstruction, if B. Simone, like I said, I really think, he had some not too rational explanation for why she was doing what she was going to do and not listen to Jesus. But like I said, I think, however the message of deconstruction can be presented to the next generation or all the generations, let it be so.
Yeah, and guess what? Money talks. And I guess money talks to anybody.
That was one of the things said on the podcast about how Black women, I think we are the lowest on the economic totem pole. Like, maybe not, but our economic problems, our financial problems, we're giving money to a church, we're donating. And I remember saying that, and kind of tried to reason out with her, if God is so powerful, why does he need my $5?
Right, yeah.
Right, give me $20. We're all powerful, but I need to give you $20.
Right, that part. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean, like, seriously. And
I thought that was a good thing for a Black woman to say, okay, I don't need to listen to Jesus right now. I need to get that bag.
Right. Yeah. Yes. That is absolutely important. And speaking of money and financial support, Giving Tuesday was this past Tuesday, and we appreciate everyone who supported and donated to be in on Giving Tuesday. As you know, that's the day that that's the day that all nonprofits, support their favorite organizations, charities, and what have you. And it's always after Cyber Monday and Giving Tuesday. So we appreciate everyone. Yes. And please, please, please do send a super chat through the BN website or through the BN channel. We would very much appreciate it. But this is the end of year, and as always, we can use your support. I am very, very excited about us approaching our 15-year anniversary. Black non-believers will be 15 years old in 2026. And we did a 5th anniversary celebration in 2016. We did a 10th anniversary celebration in 2021, and we will be celebrating all year in 2026. So we really could use your support for that. We appreciate everyone who has become an official member of Black Nonbelievers. And we have some 15th anniversary promo and apparel coming, and our members will have the first access to receiving a lot of the materials. So members, get your discount code ready, and
Nice.
get your discount code ready, and because we're going to have shirts, we're going to have buttons, we're going to have tote bags, and we're going to be doing a membership drive at the end of the year to get more folks to support. We are now up to about 85 official members for Black Nonbelievers. And so, yeah, thank you all so much for everyone who continues to tune in, continues to support. And I'm sorry, I might need to bring Kelly back because I need to get Mr. Willie to troubleshoot the instructions through his phone.
All right.
But I'll be right back. Yes, thank you so much. Yeah, we could talk about the official membership of BN. I'm sorry, Kelly, I got to put you back up again.
All right. Well, Kelly,
I muted myself, so let me unmute myself.
But aren't you excited to hear about the 15-year anniversary and the exclusive merch? It's going to be great.
I'm grabbing some merch, definitely, and I put it in the chat. We're twins. Me and Black Nonbelievers are twins.
Okay, twin.
Yeah.
Listen, I tuned into.
I'm 15 too.
I tuned into your show today. I'm so happy I did. I finally got a chance to do that, and you were great. Your guest was very informative and kind, and yeah, it was a great show. So kudos to you and congratulations.
I appreciate that.
Hopefully, we can get get your viewership up. Because I was like, where's the super chat button? Where's the super chat?
No, you gotta have, I think, like 500 at least to get super chats. I think that's how it works, if I'm not mistaken.
I was looking for the button. I was like, where? Oh, okay.
Now you gotta give it to me in my hand.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah, I mean, I just got started, so it takes time and everything. And I posted because you're gonna have to be a guest on my show as well. Gotta hook that up. But what I've made a status because during the holiday I'm gonna be free, and I normally do my shows on the weekends, anytime relatively on the weekends, but during the weekends during the day, because I have to work.
Right.
So I made a message on Facebook saying, hey, if anybody wants to be on my show, I'll be available during the evenings these days. And I got like 5 or 6 people that messaged me.
Nice.
Wanting to be guest.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
We got to fluctuate when and how it's going to be worked out. But
yeah,
I was like really happy that people actually thought about wanting to be a guest on my show and trying to help me out and everything like that. And there's other.
And
what
so
say?
I was going to also ask if you had a moderator. I didn't.
I do not have a moderator.
Okay.
Mandisa's been helping me the last couple episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess technically she's my moderator. But I've been doing it. But when I do it during the day, I do usually do it by myself.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I don't really, or like if somebody comes in, like some people that's part of my Java and Jugs crew, sometimes they'll come in. Robin, who she sometimes helps me out as well, but I have no set person that comes every time to help me out.
Yeah, I just noticed, again, I went right to the chat and I saw something that wasn't offensive, but it was just like, I almost reported it, but I didn't, because there was nothing said that was offensive, really. It was just an opinion.
Yeah, well, it was a couple people that Mandisa cut them out real quick that came on my stream. I was like, so crazy. Like these,
Yeah,
give it.
so
But we're not on your channel talking crap. What you
what
talking about our stuff? All these religious shows, and go bother them. Leave us alone.
That's so funny. That is hilarious. But I will say that let's talk about when you do your show, because as you know, my schedule is very flexible. So I can actually help moderate through my own personal channel and get things going from there.
I
So
appreciate you.
you know, absolutely. And people don't know, look, you know, I do a lot of things in the front, forward, and background. So any way that I can. And this has just been the 15-year journey of being, right? Speaking of that, there's been a lot of learning curves. There's been a lot of things that we've had to do that are hands-on, and I've had to roll up my sleeves and take the initiative and learn it, because you know that, and it really helped that in my, you know, I used to be an executive assistant, so I did a lot of office work, doing a lot of like, you know, like reports and preparing things and having to learn that. And so what that does is that gave sort of you know, an advantage to you know, to be able to do things, you know, with don't get me wrong, I received some valuable assistance from some of our partner organizations. I really want to give a shout out to the Secular Coalition for America, who helped us, who helped guide us along with the 501c3 process. But I did file that application myself. You know, so all of that, you know, all of like the legal aspects, you know, to doing nonprofits, I had to really dive into and learn. And that was fine. You know, I think everyone should be able to learn that. Of course, ideally, we would love to have folks who are, you know, professionally trained and be able to streamline all of that, right? But that's what comes along with funding, right? You know, if I know if I had a choice to talk, you know, if I had a choice to have a 10-minute conversation with Jesus and take $1 trillion, I'd certainly take that $1 trillion.
Hell yeah.
I mean, I don't know what, you know, I don't know what that deal is. So, you know, why people are so mad about that.
If you get the $1 trillion, that's enough for me, you, and Edith to be comfortable.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
then I'll talk to Jesus, be like, why the hell you did some of the shit you did, Jesus?
Right.
That would be the conversation I would have. So we can do both.
Right. Right. Yes. Absolutely. So we can, let me see. Yes. And again, it's always a great time to donate to Black non-believers. Please do support the work that we do. And you know, we might need to just kind of go back, you know, sort of in reverse order and start on the upcoming events, which I updated. And so tomorrow, let me put you back, Kelly, since you're the since you're the moderator. Edith, you want to start with the upcoming events?
Absolutely. So tomorrow in Chicago, Illinois, we've got Friendsgiving, this hangout. It was rescheduled from last week. It's going to start at 11:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. And you can find information about that at meetup/Black Non-Believers of Chi-Town, Chicago events. So that should be a fun event. December 21st, Charlotte, North Carolina. We have Black people celebrating winter solstice. This is going to be at 10 a.m. Eastern time at the Golden Corral on Tryon Street. So you can buy your own buffet. Golden Corral usually has a pretty good setup. It's been a while, but yeah, that sounds like fun. You can find information about that at Meetup Black Non-Believers of Charlotte. And then on the 31st, we have the New Year's Eve in Atlanta, hosted by Madam Prez at BN headquarters. Yay! Plenty of food and drinks. Bring your own BYOB and CBD. Free to attend, but please donate, and merchandise will be available for sale. That's going to start at 9 p.m. on December 31st. You can find information on that at bit.ly/New Year's Eve in ATL with BN. That's going to be a good one. And then we've even got some dates.
Yes, we got some dates
In
here.
June. This is going to be the Revival of Reason in Atlanta. We're going to be celebrating the 15th anniversary and secular Juneteenth celebration. So join us for a major extravaganza celebrating a milestone year. Location and tickets will be available shortly. So that's looking forward to that. Also, way into 2026, we again will be on the sea. We're going to do SeaCon 2026 on the Carnival Celebration cruise ship. It's a 7-night voyage. The sail dates are November 29th through December 6th. We got a pre-cruise event the day before. Ports of call are going to be Isla Tropical, Roatan, Cozumel, Mexico, and Celebration Key, Bahamas. Speakers are going to include Godless Engineer, Mandisa Thomas, and more. So the prices are starting at $50 per person, double occupancy, special cabins are available upon request, and we can also help you with your cabin mate pairing assistance. So already the calendar for 2026 is filling up, and we love to see it. And
Yes, and also I'd like for everyone to put on their calendar the Rocket City of Reason conference that is going to be hosted by John and Casey Gleason. John is from Godless Engineer. And it's going to be in Huntsville, Alabama. So we want to make a showing of that. And also the Ark Encounter protest will be taking place in July. It's the 10-year anniversary of the Ark Encounter protest. So we want to show up. We want to show up in style and represent at those events where we are where our presence is heavy. Our presence is definitely heavy at events like that. And once again, for those of you who missed it, we announced our Hurston Scholarship winner back in the fall. Her name was Chloe Nixon. And again, this is an initiative that we co-sponsor every year. It helps Black non-religious students with their education. And we also co-sponsor the Thomas Paine annual birthday celebration, as well as the Secular Day of the Dead and California Free Thought Day. So your support goes towards us supporting other secular events and getting our presence out there. And of course, we have to thank Compassionate Choices for being our main sponsor for being SeaCon every year. We had a more intimate group this time, but it really, really was just special and fantastic. And so we appreciate everyone who was there. We appreciate, the folks. It was, oh my gosh. Can I just bring back Kelly for a second? So for the folks who don't know, there was actually a death on the ship. It had nothing to do with us. But, there was on the last day of the cruise, and we were in session at that time. So we heard an emergency announcement. There was an emergency announcement on the ship, and they were like, I think medical personnel or security to this cabin. I don't remember which one it was. So then after that, Sharon, shout out to Sharon. She was telling me that there was a death on the ship. Someone had died. And we were like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. But then it turns out that news reports, the news outlets reported that allegedly a stepbrother murdered his stepsister, and they found her underneath the bed. That is what that incident was. And so we were like, oh my goodness, because apparently the family did not want, like, it's not that they didn't want any investigation, but they just wanted to keep it like close knit at the time. And the stepbrother was 16 years old, and the young lady, I think, was like 18. So yes, that was the ship that we were, that was the voyage that we were on.
Wow.
So yeah, that was, and what's interesting is that this is the second time on the horizon. And of course, we don't believe in like curses or jinxes, right? But this is the second time on the Carnival horizon that there has been an issue with someone dying. Now we've sailed the horizon for 3 years during SeaCon. It's a very, very nice ship. It was new at the time that it came out in 2019, or 2018, 2019. But the first year we went in 2019, and also on the last day of the voyage, there was a bunch of security that went to a section of it was on the promenade deck. And we were on the other side, but it was so well contained, we didn't know anything about it. Turns out that someone was on a higher deck and tried to throw something to someone over the balcony, over the ledge, and plunged right onto the promenade deck. And so, they contained that very well, but the person ended up dying from their injuries. So it's just like, oh my gosh, we don't know what the deal is with people. And this is the interesting thing about cruises, right? You have these incidents that take place. They're often isolated, but the fact is that there's just still something that goes on.
Well, I will say this, the cruise that I was, when I went on the SeaCon cruise, we turn up, but dang, we're not that, you won't die.
Right.
We turn up, we have a good time, and yeah, not to that extent.
Right.
That's very sad.
Very, very sad. I mean, it is so, and just so that we are, oh my gosh, so we're trying to we're trying to get this
Willie.
Yeah, we're trying to get we're trying to get him added. Sorry folks, these are
difficulties.
Yeah. And I will tell you that the last time he was on, it was because Streamlabs was being weird, but this time everything is fine. So we're not sure what is going on here. Oh no, he says the system has blocked his video and mic. Oh goodness.
Well,
sorry about this, folks. I know we're doing a good job of filling it in here because that's what we do. And yes, we also had a blast this year, except we all came back with colds. We came back with some sort of bug. It was just, that was just a little crazy. But
I wish I could have gone this year. I, as you know, have had a turbulent personal life.
Yes.
I'm still trying to get myself together. I took a trip to Mexico recently.
Okay.
And I was there from the 24th through December 3rd. So it was a 10-day trip.
Oh, how was that?
Went to Playa del Carmen.
Oh.
And I received my temporary residency card there. That was the main reason for the trip, because I planned to spend a lot of time in Mexico, probably, leaning towards getting permanent residency there. And so this was one of the steps, one of the very first steps in doing so. And
You see Edith abandoning us over here. This is terrible. No, I'm just messing with you.
no, I'm the wheels are turning. But yeah,
Yeah.
the internet works great. And it's going to be but no, I will be hopefully still be able to participate. It's been, the being community has been a real lifeline for me. And I'm just so, yeah, y'all are my family.
Yes, yes. And you know what? Family, that's so funny. Kelly said Edith has no love for me anymore. That's so no, she does. And we absolutely respect, your decision. I think there are a lot of people who are making this, making this transition. And yes, it is a place to visit.
Mhm.
Definitely. So yeah, it's
So, yeah.
okay, all right. We got him now. We got him. He's here. Sorry, Edith. Not
No,
to cut you off, but we can start the interview now. So
well,
yeah.
our real pleasure, a true pleasure to welcome our special guest for a Take Two interview. This is Willie Cartwright. Willie Cartwright, EMBA, MA, is an educator, a speaker, entrepreneur, author, and advocate. Together with his wife, he co-owned a successful e-commerce business, which they sold in 2024. Before his entrepreneurial endeavors, Willie spent 17 years in corporate America, 12 of those as a financial advisor, 6 years in management roles. He holds a Bachelor of Science in Finance from Alabama A&M, an executive MBA from Troy University, and a Master of Arts in Religious Studies from Georgia State University. In 2015, Willie made the personal decision to step away from organized religion and his Christian faith. His current research explores the rapid rise of the religiously unaffiliated, commonly known as nuns, and the broader impact of secularism on society, with a particular focus on the African American community. Willie has presented his research at several academic conferences, including the National American Academy of Religion, the Southeast Regional AAR Conference, the Conference on Religious Trauma, and the Southeast Philosophy of Education Society Conference. Willie has published 4 books, including From Saved to Sane, My Journey Away from Christianity and Why It Has Been Detrimental to the African American Community. In addition to his writing, Willie served as an adjunct professor at the Department of Religious Studies at Georgia State University in 2023 and 2024. He's been featured on the Freedom from Religion Foundation podcast and has delivered several talks and presentations for numerous organizations, including the Sunday Assembly of Las Vegas, the Atheist Roundtable of Las Vegas, the American Humanist Association, and a local college in Nairobi, Kenya. Willie also serves on the board of directors for the Secular Student Alliance. Welcome back, Willie. Thank you for joining us. It's my first time meeting you, and it's a real pleasure.
I am glad to be here. Let me apologize. I am about 99.9% sure that the issue was on my end, so I certainly apologize. But I'm here.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, I understand how you feel, but that's fine. We're glad you're here. So what we usually do is we ask our guests to share your upbringing, especially if you were raised, fundamentally religious, how you arrived at your current perspective.
Yeah, very typical. I was born and raised in the Deep South, Alabama to be specific. And like most people raised in the 70s and 80s in the South, I was part of a deeply devout family. My mother was extremely devout, had us in church seemingly 24/7, but every Sunday, 2 or 3 times during the week. Revival during the summer, not only our revival, but every revival that she could find during the summer at other churches. And so I spent a lot of time in my childhood in church, part of the Baptist community. And so very typical upbringing, very, very devout. In my household growing up, 2 things you couldn't miss. One was school and the other was church. And so needless to say, I was in church every time the church doors open. Later on in life, as my mother got older, she eventually became a minister. And so that was probably 10 or so years before she passed away. But yeah, so that's sort of how I went about it. When I got to college, there was the first opportunity that I had to meet other people who were not, especially other African Americans who were not necessarily Baptist or Christian or whatever. So I met people who were part of the Muslim faith, the 5%ers, Hebrew Israelites, and some other different faiths. And so I think that sort of sparked my interest in learning more about religion as a collective. And so even one time, even for a minute, I dabbled in the idea of becoming Muslim. Came home, told my mother, she sort of discouraged that, and so that wasn't the route that I took. But what I later understood from that, I took from that, is that was the beginning of me becoming very inquisitive about religion as a collective study. And so, yeah.
Yeah, I can identify with you on the going to church every Sunday. Yeah, we were in the car or trying to get my brother dressed and in the car. That was a battle, and boy, oh boy, it just went around and around. But yeah, thanks for sharing a little bit about your background. So what are so you say you moved away from your Christian faith in 2015.
Yeah.
And so in that time frame, what have you seen, when you move out of Christian framework, you start to seek community. Where did you look first? Or how did you bridge that gap from the Christian community, as far as who are you socializing with, or who did you look to?
Yeah, let me back up a little bit, because I kind of, there's a gap there between growing up and then where I am now, and then when I started to deconvert in 2015. So in 2005, I met my wife. She was a Christian. Both of us were devout Christians at the time, but she had grown up in the Muslim faith and converted to Christianity when she was about 20. And so from 2005 to roughly about 2013 or 14 or so, we were devout Christians going to church. But I think both of us, unbeknown to each other, had started to sort of doubt the religion of the faith. And so we started pulling away from the church maybe 2013, 2014. And in 2015, literally, one day we were out hiking. We love outdoors, and we love to hike. We were at the time still living in the Atlanta area. And so we were hiking around Stone Mountain. Those of you who are from Atlanta, familiar with Atlanta. And literally we both just stopped and looked at each other and said, you know what, this religious thing, this Christianity thing is not working for us. And I think both of us were concerned about how the other would take this. But we sort of came to this conclusion at the same time. So we decided to embark on our own separate journeys. And so my wife sort of wanted to know more about Eastern philosophies and Eastern faith and meditation and some of the Hindu and Asian faiths. And so she sort of took that route. She's not part of any organized religion, but she appreciates the way people live their lifestyle, Buddhism and all of that. And so she's an avid reader of everything Eastern philosophy and Eastern religion. Me, on the other hand, I decided that I was completely done with organized religion, that it was not for me. And so I embarked on really trying to learn everything I could about religion, the history of religion, how it affects us as a society, as it affects us as individuals, specifically how it affects African Americans. And as I started this, I became very vocal about, at the time, my disbelief, or how I framed it, or how I defined myself as a non-believer. Because I was really conscious about not using the A word, whether it be agnostic or atheist. And so I was really conscious about not doing that. But I also wanted, and I didn't want to alienate many of my friends, although that still happened, because especially in the Black community, once you say that you don't believe in the Abrahamic God, that is probably the most unforgivable quote unquote sin in the Black community. But I became very vocal, and so I started to seek out. And this is to answer your question. I started to seek out people who looked like me, who felt the way that I felt, or were on the same journey that I was on, and it was far and few. I had a friend who introduced me to um, a gentleman by the name of Jamar Camaro. I'm sorry, let me get his name right. And those of you familiar with him, he's done a lot of work with videos. He and I met, had lunch, talked to him. I had the privilege when I started Georgia State, I had the privilege of meeting people like Dr. Anthony Penn. I started reading some of the writings of Dr. Christopher Cameron and some other people, Candace Gorman, Shakiva Hutchinson, some of those people. But those were people who I didn't know personally, even though I've met several of them. But I didn't know anybody that I could feel, touch, and see and talk to every day that felt the same way I felt. Eventually, because I was in this space, I started to meet people, and I started to build a community of people who were like me, that looked like me, who were non-believers, even those who were admittedly atheists. And so I became good friends with some of those people. Those people are still great friends of mine. Now. I had a couple that my wife and I were friends with in Atlanta who had been atheists for a long time, but they lived in a very conservative part outside of Atlanta in the suburbs. And so they were very instrumental and gave me advice on how to navigate this whole thing. And so it was really about putting it out there. I started meeting people, the community, through online. Eventually met found out about Black non-believers and Mandisa. I actually knew the person who was part of the predecessor to this organization. Her and I became friends for a while, but then I later met Mandisa. So awesome. Mandisa and I have talked several times. As a matter of fact, some of my work at Georgia State, I interviewed Mandisa for a project that I had. So I certainly appreciate that. And Mandisa, you would be happy to hear this. Mandisa and I have discussed this whole thing about African Americans not wanting to say I'm an atheist, right? We use every other term, humanist,
Right.
free thinker, critical thinker, or whatever.
Yeah.
And about 2 months ago, Mandisa, I came out on my podcast and openly and admitted for the first time that I was an atheist. And so it felt great. So I thought to myself, I need to make sure that I tell Mandisa that, because this was part of the last conversation we had this past summer at a convention, at a conference. So it's that. But you know what? It was really, what I learned was that I wasn't ready at the time. But the more and more I study and I research and I have these conversations with believers, it really affirmed where I was. And I think the final piece of it was me having a conversation with my wife, because we've been married 20 years. And although my wife is not a believer in the Abrahamic faith at all, she is still a person who believes in that there is something out there. And so I wanted to make sure that she was comfortable with me saying publicly, yeah, I'm an atheist. And she was 100% supportive. Basically, what took you so long, and so that was sort of the last thing that I needed to sort of say, okay, here I am now. And so I am personally very proud that I've gotten to that point and that I can admit that, yes, I am an atheist. So
Great. Great. I was going to ask you, you had said earlier something about, well, you kind of tiptoed around the word.
I did.
Why is that? Or so great.
Let me just say thank you. It's so good to see you, Willie. And I'm glad we were able to, make this time, work for us. But it is important that when it comes to relationships, right, that we are not, of course, it is important and I always contend it's important for us to be, assertive and comfortable with where we are. And that our partners, if in good partnerships, we should be supporting each other especially when it comes to difficult conversations and identities like this. But I appreciate that you support and you value what your wife thinks enough to say, you know what, okay, I want to make sure that you are comfortable with this and that, you know, we can move forward. That that is missing in so many relationships. And this is often why, you know, when it comes to like, especially interfaith relationships, those who are non-believers with those who are believers, that could be a challenge. But, you know, again, as we, you know, as we say, you know, it's very, very important. I always contend that, you know, those who we live in a, you know, we live in a time now that if you say a word, folks should be asking what it means instead of just saying one word and you're just like, oh my gosh, you know, I'm just turned off. And the onus of education and information is on the person who doesn't fully understand. And I become so weary and exhausted of the burden of, you know, accommodation being on us. Because they certainly are not considering how they are being either disrespectful or dismissive or indifferent towards us. And so, but I can definitely appreciate that you considered, you know, your wife and you spoke with her about it, because oftentimes a lot of folks just don't, you know, this becomes a very contentious issue, so people just avoid it. But it also leaves people, you know, like in a gap, so to speak. So therefore, I really do appreciate where you are and respect the process. But I'm also glad that you're here. Congratulations to you on that.
Yeah, I you know, man, this one of the things I learned from Jeremiah Camaro in our conversation was that when you are openly and out about being an atheist, it is not the easiest thing. You know, he has to be careful with who he meets with, who he talks to, where he is, because he's told me stories, and I'm sure that you've experienced some of this. And even for me, I've done some public work, but not as much as you have, Mandisa, not as long as Jeremiah has done it. But I've received death threats from people. You know, bad wishes. This is going to happen to you. You know, but whatever. And so you have to be mindful of that and considering your partner, what your partner goes through. Because if people connect your partner with you, then there's no telling what kind of things that they will encounter. So I had to be careful, and my wife understands that. And so we're in this together. And so that was one of the concerns. Right. But absolutely. But I'm glad that I'm at this space. I am open about it. I am loud about it. And like you said, in many of my dialogues and conversations with believers, I try to point out to them is that, you know, for so many years, you've had the freedom to say what you want to say about your faith. But now that we're in an age where those of us who are in the atheist community, agnostic community, or the non-believers community, we're able to push back. And for whatever reason, now you believe that you're being attacked when you've never considered how you've made us feel, you know, atheists or agnostic or non-believers. But all of a sudden now you feel attacked because we're saying, wait a minute, you know, that's not necessarily for everybody. That doesn't make logical sense. That's not rational thinking. And so now they all of a sudden feel, well, now I'm being attacked by you atheists. Well, okay, whatever. Oh, good, because it's not going to stop if that's how you feel.
If you're basing your existence on something that's illogical and irrational, of course, when anybody questions it, you feel like you're going to disintegrate. Very.
Yep.
But no, that's great. We may have touched on it, but maybe you want to walk us through some of the challenges that you think are the most detrimental to leaving religion that you could see happening to somebody who does deconstruct.
Yeah, I think it's again, when we talk about African Americans, it's completely different. For us, there's loss of community. You know, most of my friends, everybody I grew up with was part of the church and were believers. So there's that. I've had friends who I haven't talked to in years who now know my position, and you know, they're like surprised and shocked and questioning you know, our relationship. I've lost friends. I've literally had people say, because you are a non-believer, we can no longer be friends. My mother, before she passed in 2017, said some really horrible things about me and my wife because I told her that I no longer believed the way that she believed. And so that's part of it, losing the community. There's also this whole anti-Black thing. We associate our Blackness with being religious or believing in God or Jesus or whatever. And when you don't do that, or when you stand outside of that, people begin to question your Blackness. Are you really Black? Oh, you are atheist. Oh, that's a white thing. And so all of that. So those are a whole lot of the things. And again, the community. I'm part of several organizations outside of outside of the secular space, but all of those organizations assume that everybody is religious or everybody believes in God. So I attend events where they pray or they always acknowledging God or all of that. And so I have to sit back and sort of take that, or let's, do I want to have a debate and argument with 200 people? And so it's all of that. Luckily, I'm married, and we've been married for 20 years, and so I don't have that. But I've seen people in forums and people I've spoken with who say, I'm an atheist, I'm a non-believer. It's difficult for me to find a mate, because everybody in the Black community believes in God. So it's all of that. So those are some of the challenges. Day to day, because I do this and I'm open about it. We have debates and dialogues about it. Again, the whole friendship thing. People look at you funny. There's jokes. Even my sister, who's very devout, we kind of have this, this thing where we don't talk about it, but occasionally her and my niece will joke about something. And so it's all of that. So it's not the easiest journey, especially when you consider the social aspect of it. But also from a mental standpoint, this is what I was indoctrinated with. This is what I believed for 40 plus years. And so for me, when I first started, anytime something bad would go wrong, like if we didn't have a good day with our business or we had a slow month or whatever, it would be like, oh, wait a minute, is God punishing me because I walked away from the religion? People who I admire and I respect, I've had to wonder how they see me now. The person who I admire and respect the most happens to be a member of clergy. He married my wife and I have the utmost respect for him. He see all of my posts on Facebook. He never says anything. So you're wondering how these people see you now. But yeah, so it is a lot that go into it. And so for that fact, those believers who think that us who've been part of that community, that this is just a trend or something that we're doing, they're not aware of everything that goes into our deconverting. We know that, yeah, I'm going to lose friends. I'm going to lose relationships. I might even lose my job. I have a friend now who works for the church, but he's no longer a believer. But he tells me, he said, I can't publicly co-sign with you because I might lose my job at the church. It's the only way that I make my money. And he's not the only one. So there are many people. So part of what I do and I tell people is that I'm an advocate for those individuals who really can't speak out, but they really want to. And so they send me private messages in support of me. They say, you are where I've been for a long time, but I just can't, for whatever the circumstances, I can't do it. And so they have been very supportive. And that's been a surprising. Some of the people that I've received private messages from or in private conversations, they've shown their support for me. So, yeah.
Yeah, I will, leaving your community is the thing that's difficult. And like you, I have siblings who still believe in a higher power or such. And I do find myself among Christians a lot. And it does make dating a little interesting. But yeah, like I will still go, like my sister was in handbell, likes to do handbells. And so I went and sat through Easter service so that I could support her doing what she loved to do. Right. And then she comes up after her performance, she sits down, and I said, no, you're not going to get struck by lightning. Trust me. It's okay.
Yeah, It's been a little bit easier for us over the last year and a half because we've moved from Atlanta to outside of Vegas. It's a lot more progressive, a lot more liberal, a lot more less judgmental. And so my wife has found her circle of friends who are into meditation and Reiki, astrology, all that kind of stuff. So she's found her community. I've found a community of non-believers, atheists, whatever. The unfortunate part about that is that not many of them look like me. But I would say that even in the South, I couldn't find that at all. So at least there is a community, and even for the Black community, it is still not as devout as I saw in living in Atlanta or growing up. It's not a church on every corner here. Everybody's not always talking about religion, at least the Black people here, not to the extent of what it was in the South. So it makes it is a difference. It is a noticeable difference in what I see. But I still have relationships with people that I've known for all my life, and it comes up from time to time. I have friends who will be out somewhere and they'll say, "So let me get this straight. So you don't believe in God?" Or they will be insistent that I believe in something. I said, "Yeah, I believe in me," and so that starts a whole nother conversation. But I'm prepared for it. It's encouraging to me. It actually fuels me. They don't understand that, but it fuels me. And so it requires me to always be on my toes. The research and the reading is a continuous thing. And so I'm always ready for any dialogue that they have. So it's actually making me stronger. And it's more and more confirmation that I'm where I need to be and I'm right in where I am.
Wonderful. That's very good. Yep. So why is it important to stand up against Christian nationalism, especially?
Oh, awesome. I'm sorry. Go ahead and finish. You finish the question.
That's I was just dragging it out, but yeah, this one's why is it important to stand up against Christian nationalism, especially with the current presidential administration? We can see the evangelist. What are they? Evangelists?
Yeah. Evangelicals.
Thank you. Are just really on one right now.
Yeah, so I've done several presentations about the dangers of Christian nationalism and Christian nationalists. So part of it is that the people who are Christian nationalists are also some of the same people who wrote Project 2025. And so if you are African American and you believe that the religious part, the Christian part of it lines up with your faith, or you have no issue or you are apathetic to some of the things that's happening with the Christian nationalists because you see a connection with your faith, and for whatever reason, many Black people consider themselves to be Christian before they're African American, which is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life. You also should be worried about things that's part of Project 2025, right? And so in that, what Christian nationalists and evangelicals and far right community are attempting to do is they want us to live in a soft theocracy or a full-blown theocracy. And to them, that is creating a hierarchy where white Christian males are at the top and everyone else follows, underneath. And so that is one of the dangers of it. So if you don't want to be part as African American, if you don't want to be part of a subjugated class, then you should be against Christian nationalism. Those of you, and I've challenged my African American Christians who are very devout. I said, here's a segment of your community that is making you look bad. They are, without a doubt, racist, bigoted, homophobic, the whole 9 yards. But you are right along with them and aligning yourself or allowing yourself to be used by them. if you really was about what you believe or what you say that Jesus Christ is about, then you would be fighting against the things that Christian nationalists stand for, which again is bigotry, being homophobic, hatred, subjugation of women, all of that. And that is exactly what they stand for. And so it is important, not just for our community, the secular community, but also for everyone else. We don't want to go back to, 1865 or whatever, and living in that kind of environment where everyone who's not a Christian male, a Christian white male, is subjugated to the Christian white male. And so there's a lot that's wrapped up in that. And so, yeah, so it is one of the things that I do, that I work hard with. As a matter of fact, I work with a religious organization right now, being trained to go out and speak against Christian nationalists. I've challenged my Christian friends who would rather debate me on social media. I said, but I don't see the same fight against Christian nationalists. I said, you guys are either you agree with what's going on with Christian nationalists, or you're so apathetic to what's going on because you believe that it doesn't affect you, because you think that somehow you will be grandfathered in because you're a Christian. But you may not see yourself as black first, but even white evangelicals and white Christian nationalists absolutely see you as black first. And so I'm trying to keep you from finding out the hard way. And so we should be in alignment in our fight against Christian nationalists. And there are Christian organizations out there who are fighting back against Christian nationalists, right? So I don't want to make it sound like that there are none, but they're not enough, and we don't hear them enough, and we don't see them enough beating the drums that this is wrong, these people are wrong, all of this is wrong, and for whatever reason, I don't see them willing to align with the secular community in this fight. So we can have a common enemy. I mean, we might not agree on everything, but we can agree that Christian nationalists should be a common enemy of all of us. And so that's what I'm pushing for and looking for. I don't know if it's going to happen, Edith, but I'm working toward. I'm doing my best.
Yeah, and I was going to say on those Christian groups that are, against Trumpism, against fascism, I think it's difficult when you say you're from the same group of folks, knowing that you've got to do so much mental gymnastics because the seed of your beliefs is from the same root. It's the same root. So you've got to do a lot to separate yourself from that. But in the end, I think it's a tough road to hoe, and it happens successfully. Man, that's what you want to say.
Yeah, like I said, I want to shout out the Baptist Joint Committee for Religious Liberty. We've done some work with them, had the opportunity to connect with them. Shout out to Dr. Sabrina Dent, who now works, she runs the Center for Faith, Justice, and Reconciliation through the BJC. And what's really important about what the work that BN has done. And Willie, I know you, I think it was in the 2021 that we finally got a chance to meet in person for the first time for one of our meetings. And I still had that picture. I was going to upload it, but yeah, there was a nice crowd of people there, and that was just fantastic. But what's been really great is that we have been able to connect with those Christians, some Black Christians who get it. They understand why we don't believe. And in fact, they have family members themselves who don't believe. And so they are able to connect and at least point to be in as a resource for their family members who who are either seriously questioning if they were leaving or don't believe at all. And they let folks know, hey, there is an organization and a community that can support you in addition to the support that we can offer. And yes, as we see this administration take from the playbook of Project 2025 and dismiss what they just do, they apparently just removed MLK Day and Juneteenth from the national celebrations. I mean, this is, I'm not surprised by it. You know, I don't think any of us are surprised by it. It doesn't make it any less infuriating.
Yeah.
But for the people who believed, you know, that this stuff wouldn't happen, or they didn't think it would happen, it's like, oh my gosh, you know, it's like, where, like, what rock are you hiding under? But, you know, I absolutely do think that there should be more. You know, that there should be more progressive organizations, religiously progressive organizations that are willing at least to align themselves with us publicly. And the BJC has worked with the Freedom from Religion Foundation. You know, we appreciate that. They can't be like the lone wolves here. You know, there definitely should be more. And I totally agree on that.
Yeah, and Mandisa, you I didn't mention the name of the organization because I didn't know, you know, but yeah, the BJC is the organization that I'm working with personally to sort of get the word out about the dangers of Christian nationalism. We're going through some training stuff right now as we speak. As a matter of fact, Thursday. And to your point about Dr. Dent, who is a fabulous individual, I got introduced to her. Her and I spoke a couple of times. She gave me some references. And then I heard her story, and our story is kind of similar. And so absolutely shout out to Dr. Dent, wonderful person, and the BJC, because like you said, they are one of the few religious organizations that understands the true dangers of Christian nationalists and are actively doing something. I know there's others, but the BJC for sure. I personally know that they're doing something about it. And so, yeah, absolutely. So, yeah. But you're right. You know, there needs to be more. And it's almost as if, unfortunately, the progressive religious organizations that are not speaking out, they're going to have to see or feel the pain themselves. And it may be too late, or it's going to take a whole lot of work. But I am one person, and Mandisa and some of us, the rest of us are others who are ringing the bell saying, hey, wait a minute. This is, we got it. We need to be talking about this. We need to be doing, we need to be doing something. Because, you look at this administration, we still have 3 years left. So the damage that's been done, to this point, we still got more than 3 years left. So who knows how much more damage is going to be done. And so I am never surprised at how low this administration goes. And I'm not even surprised at the low level of pushback that the collective country is giving. What I am surprised about is how many people are saying, oh, this is not really what I voted for. Yes, it is what you voted for. And those of us, we know that this is really what you voted for. What you're trying to do now is distance yourself. But this man did not make any, he said what he was going to do from the very beginning. And the people that he aligned himself with, Stephen Miller and Bannon and some of these other people, if you just do a quick Google search on their past, you would know who they are. Stephen Miller is a freak. I mean, he is just
he's evil.
I keep it clean.
He's a nasty piece of work.
He's very nasty piece of work. So absolutely. So it's my hope and dream is that more of us in the secular community become more vocal. I said this to someone earlier. I wish that we were more united. Mandisa and your organization, it seems like you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders in trying to do everything. And I'm certainly appreciative of the work that you have done and the organization has done. And here's another part of it. So I am privileged, and Mandisa, you probably as well, but I'm privileged to see it from both sides. So as I dip my toe into the other side, people who don't look like us, but they're in this space, these individuals are financially doing extremely well. Now, we don't do this. We do this because it's a passionate for us. But Mandisa has bills to pay. I have bills to pay. We all have to make a living. And I've said, when I talk to my non-Black friends in this space, and they tell me that they have millions and millions of viewers and supporters on their, on their sites, and they go and they speak at these organizations, and they're paid X amount of dollars. And then I talk to those of us, Mandisa, Candace Gorman, many of the others, and it's not the same for us. And so we have to get together and figure out, because I think our insight and where we come, like I always say this, African Americans and religion, where we are now, we're sort of the canary in the coal mine, because we've now started to say, wait a minute, this whole religious thing is not, it's no turning back. I know that religious people think that, oh, this is just a trend, but when we've started, especially our younger African Americans, we've started to walk away from religion in droves, right? We're the canary in the coal mine. It's not going back. Now we got to figure out how we can get together and really, make this benefit from this thing, but also get the message out to more of us, because I personally believe that there are many, many more of us who think like we think, who believe like we believe, but for whatever reason, and there's a list of them, they're not as open. And so they need to see us more. They need to see us more so they can feel comfortable and say, you know what? There is nothing wrong with me being an atheist or agnostic. There is nothing wrong with me not being a believer anymore. It is not anti-Black. As a matter of fact, to think critically is Black. Dr. Christopher Cameron wrote a book about Black free thinkers going all the way back to the 17th and 18th century. So we're not the first. We've always had Black free thinkers in our community. We have always had Black people who challenge the status quo when it comes to religion. And so we're at a time, the internet information time, we can get the information that we need, and we shouldn't be sitting here hiding away. And I'm speaking to myself as well. We need to be a lot more vocal, and we need to say, yes, I am a proud atheist. And so, yeah.
Wow, that is a very interesting development, Willie. I mean, I love it. I love to see it. Oh, goodness.
So, yeah, I guess, I'm just, we do these debates and dialogue with Christians. For me, it's freaking almost every day. And it's frustrating, it's tiring, and it's almost comical, because I'm saying you could do a quick Google search, or you can do the research. It's out there. Why do you still fight the science and argue against evolution and say that creation is how we got here and the earth is 6,000 years old? And it's just amazing to me that we're this uninformed, and I'll be nice about it, that we're this uninformed, and we are willfully uninformed, and we want to continue in this condition, and so maybe that needs to be studied. And then I'll say this, and I'll end this, at least until I'll end this part of it. The next stage for me is figuring out what I can do about working in public policy. Because I want to work in the space of public policy where we create our laws that are void of religious dogma or religious doctrine. I wrote a letter, and one of my older professors looked at it, and in the letter I said to them that I believe that religion is inherently discriminatory. I got banged for it. She was like, well, you really can't say that. But I stand behind it. I changed it because I had to send this out to a school or whatever. But I believe that, and we've seen this. We know that religion is inherently discriminatory. When you tell a segment of people that you are an abomination because of how you live, or that someone can't choose to love someone else because that person is not a different sex, then that is inherently discriminatory. We've seen it used for slavery. We've seen it used to subjugate women. And so the next step for me is to figure out a way to work in public policy. And I'm doing some stuff behind the scenes where I can get into public policy, help to create public policy that is void of religious doctrine and dogma. I've seen it in Singapore. I've seen it in other countries. And so I think it's something that we said that we are, the whole separation of church and state thing, all of that is part of it. But too much of our policy is influenced by religion. Too many of our policy makers lead with their faith, and they tend to discriminate against those individuals who they consider others or outside of their faith. And that's the next step for me, is to work in public policy to create public policy that is void of religion.
Because yes, I agree. And as you're talking, I'm thinking about all the different laws and rules. Our socials, what's left of our social safety net is so anti-woman.
Very much so.
Crazy, like so much of it. But well, keep us posted on that. We definitely will look forward to seeing how that goes, and we will support you absolutely in those endeavors.
Yeah, we're going to be reaching out to you, especially next year for our 15th anniversary, Willie. We definitely want you there.
I'll be there. Let me know.
We want as many people there as possible. It will be in Atlanta, in the Atlanta area. So okay. Yeah, we're gonna do it up. So yeah, we want everyone who has been connected with Black non-believers over the past 15 years, to be there with us, to hear these very important conversations, what we can do, and also help folks celebrate in their identities, because that is also very, very important.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, Mandisa, I got the shirt on.
Yes. Yes. It's the holiday season. Folks need to get their BS swag on. So, yes, thank you for the advertisement. Yes, we appreciate it.
Absolutely. So, yeah.
Right.
So, yeah, thank you guys. This has been awesome. I know we had some technical stuff, but I think that this went off once I got on. I think it went.
It's fantastic. Yes, we got folks engaged in the conversation, and so it's always fabulous.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to go back and read some of the comments, because I see a whole lot of comments popping up, so I need to go back and read some of the comments.
Okay, yeah, no, they were great. So thank you once again, Willie, for joining us. We're glad we were able to get it done this time. But yeah, we'll definitely be talking with you about 2026 and how you can be a part of everything that we're doing. So
let me know. I am there. I will be there.
Perfect. Well, you enjoy the rest of your day. I know it's still early over there.
Yeah, it is.
So yeah, we're gonna wrap up now, and thank you once again.
Okay, thank you guys. Enjoyed it. Continue working, Mandisa. You guys continue to do what you're doing.
Thank you so much.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah. We have two super chats. First one is from Minds Not Myths. They said, yes, that's me. I don't like using the A word either. That is understandable. But yeah, we do think that is absolutely important. I mean, it is important that you are comfortable with yourself, and but those in your immediate space should not be judging, and they should be affirming no matter where you are. So the next one is from our very own Detroit Atheist Queen. That's why these spaces are so important. We need each other to stay grounded. That is absolutely true as well. And I saw your comment from behind, on the back end. So we can definitely work on that too. But again, what it takes is, even if it's just a few dollars, that financial support helps us a lot. We're not trying to get rich. You see the results of our work. And we really do appreciate everyone who does support, but we do need more. So if you have anything else to add, Edith, before we get out of here?
Wanted to make sure that everybody will follow Willie on his TikTok at Save to Sane, and his YouTube channel at Willie Cartwright. So,
yes. And shout out to Robin Hood 20253 again for the $2 super chat. Thank you so much. We absolutely enjoyed having y'all here. We hope you enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Stay tuned. We will be back on the third Saturday with another episode of ITC. And if we, and join, make sure you join Kelly again for Secular Activism Unfiltered, whenever she goes live. And let's get her channel up so she can be monetized just like we are. And thank you all so much. We will see you next time.
Bye.